tell two stories about Ishmael Reed. The first time, I don't remember the first time I met him because I was a little girl and I was traveling with my father and we had dinner at he and Carla's house or apartment in New York City. And I don't remember that, but on the way home, we were on the airplane together and I was tugging at my dad's sleeve and I said, Daddy, it's that man. It's Ishmael. And he was on the plane. The second time that I met Ishmael, I remember very vividly, and it was just last year. He was super gracious. My husband and I are doing a documentary about my dad, and he and Carla agreed to be interviewed by us. And so I went into his house, to their house, and immediately, and I've been in lots of writers' houses, but this house is special. Everything seemed to be infused with story. And then we sat down, and he was so kind, and he told me stories that I had never heard about my father, really meaningful. But the problem is that I had my little questions, and I just wanted to toss them out the window because I thought, this man has some stories. This man needs at least 2 documentaries made about him. And then the other story I want to tell is that, so I got all excited about this tribute, so I threw it up on Facebook, and of course, some writer I've never heard of commented immediately, and he told the story. He goes, oh my God, Ishmael Reed. He said, back in the day, he said, Ishmael Reed, he just saved my life. He changed my life. He said, all of my friends went to see him read, and we were just like, oh my gosh, and he was wearing combat boots. And so we all went out the next day and bought combat boots and stomped around like Ishmael Reed. So I love this story because this is the effect that Ishmael Reed's writing and ideas have on people. When you're with him in person, as we are tonight, it's really a privilege. Or if you read his writing, he has this way of opening doors to a new way of thinking. So this is, in my opinion, what makes a great writer and great artist. So now I'm going to read a little bit of mumbo jumbo, and very short. Okay. Faust was an actual person. Somewhere between 1510 and 1540, this wandering conjurer, medical quack, made his travels to the southwest German Empire, telling people his knowledge of secret things. I was always puzzled over why such a legend was so basic to the Western mind, but I thought about it, and now I think I know the answer. Can't you imagine this man traveling about with his bad herbs, love posters, physics, and potions charms, overcharging the peasants, bedazzling them with his badly constructed Greek, and sometimes labeling his quote-unquote wonder cures with gibberish titles like polygon saturated 99.5% pure. Hocus pocus. He makes a living and always can get a free night's lodging at an inn with his ability to prescribe cures and tell fortunes, that is, predict the future. You see, he travels about the empire and is able to serve as a kind of national radio for people in the locales. Well, day one, while he's leeching people, cutting hair, or raising the dead who only have diseases which gives manifestations of death, something really works. He knows he's a Bokar adept at card tricks, but something really works. He tries it again and it works. He continues to repeat this performance, and each time it works. The peasants begin to look upon him as a supernatural being, and he encourages the tales about him. He heals the sick and performs marvels. He becomes wealthy with his ability to do the work. Royalty visits him. He's a counselor to the king. He lives in a castle. Peasants whisper. A black man, a very bearded devil himself, visits him. That strange coach they saw, the one with the eyes as decorations drawn to his castle by wild black horses. They say he has made a pact with the devil because he invites Africans who work in various cities throughout the empire to his castle. There were thousands of Europe at the time. Black Moors who worked as butlers, coachmen, footmen, pint-sized page boys, and conjurers whom only the depraved consulted. The villagers hear quote-unquote Arabian music, drums coming from the place, but as soon as a series of meetings begin, it all comes to a halt. Rumors circulate that Faust is dead. The village whispers that black men have collected. This is the nagging notion of the Western man. China had rocketry, Africa iron furnaces, but he didn't know when to stop with his newly found work. That's the basic wound. He will create fancy system 13 letters long to convince himself that he doesn't have this wound. What is this wound? Someone will even call it guilt, but guilt implies a conscience. Is Faust capable of charity? No, It isn't guilt, but the knowledge in his heart that he's a Bokor, a charlatan who sent hundreds of thousands to the church tard with his charlatan panaceas. Western man doesn't know the difference between a Hugan and a Bokor. He once knew this difference, but the knowledge was lost when the Adonists crushed the opposition. When they converted a Roman emperor, began rampaging and book burning, his sorcery, white magic, Bokorism will improve. Soon he'll be able to annihilate hundreds of thousands by pushing a button. I do not believe that a yellow or black hand will push this button, but a robot-like descendant of Faust, the quack will. The dreaded Bokar, the humbug who doesn't know when to stop. We must purge the Bokar from you. We must teach you the difference between the healer, holy man, and the dumpy who returns from the grave and causes mischief. We must infuse you with the mysteries that Jess Grew implies. Thank you.